Hello, welcome back to the Board Games 4K YouTube channel, and this is a channel where we give you reviews, playthroughs, unboxings, and we generally talk a load of bollocks about tabletop gaming in general. And in this video we're going to be talking about a civilization building worker placement game. We're going to be talking about Everdell, and in this game you will be placing your workers out on the board to take actions that will give you resources you'll be able to trade in to buy cards and then play cards that will give you victory points that will allow you to win this game. And in this video we're going to give you a very brief overview of the rules. We'll be telling you what we do like, what we don't like, and then we'll come back and we'll tell you whether or not Everdell is worth your time and effort today and in the future. So remember, if you are new here, then please consider subscribing to this channel. Leave a comment in that section down below, and we'll see you after this. So, Everdell. Not Everdell. How'd you play this game? So this is a card-driven civilization / worker placement game, if that makes sense, right? So in the setup, what you do, you'll decide a first player who is the most humble player, and that's normally me, because I'm the most humble person on the face of the earth, or in the universe even, right? So the first player will get 5 cards, the second player will get 6 cards, the third player will get 7 cards, and the last player will get 8 cards, right? So that's like a balancing thing going on there, yeah? What you'll do, this game is very simple. You've only got a certain amount of options. You can place a worker from your supply onto the board. You can play a card from your hand or from the meadow, and the meadow is a series of 8 cards that are in front of the big old tree thing. Or you can prepare for season, which is in effect passing onto the next season. You know what I mean? So when you place a worker out onto the board, you place your worker onto one of the available spaces. And there's 2 types of spaces. There are unlimited spaces where anyone can go at the same time, and there are limited spaces where only one player can go at one time. So you'll place your worker out onto the board and you'll take the action associated with that space. So the most basic of spaces are the forest spaces, and this is generally where you're going to be getting resources like berries, pebbles, resin and twigs. Some spaces on the forest path will allow you to draw a card from the draw deck under the tree. So you'll just place your worker out onto the thing and then you will take that action. Know what I mean? Easy, right? So there's also some spaces called destination cards, and these will appear when players play cards from their hand. These are spaces that are actually on the card themselves, so you'll be able to place a worker onto a card that you have played into your display, or a card that an opponent has played that has a little open sign on it. So you can also place your worker out onto certain events. There are events that are under the tree, and there are events that are on top of the tree. So you have to look at the specific event, and then you will have to achieve that event by either having 2 types of cards in your display, or by having a certain amount of types of cards in your display. And each card has got a name which relates to the top special events, and they've also got a category which relates to the standard events. Easy peasy. So you can also go to the Haven, which will allow you to trade in any 2 cards for any 1 resource, right? And then you've also got the Journey, which only activates in autumn. And what you'll do here, you will have to trade in a specific amount of cards to get back the same amount of victory points. But these are limited apart from the number 2 space, right? So the first space is 5. You have to trade in 5 cards for 5 victory points. Then you go 4, 3, 2, and then that's the end of that. So this second thing that you can do is you can play a card. You can either play a card from your hand, or you can play one from the meadow. And what you'll do, you'll trade in the resources that are on the side of the card, and then you'll place it in your tableau. And you can only have a maximum of 8 cards in your hand. There's no way around that. If you've got 8 cards in your hand, you have to draw some more. You can't draw any more until you get rid of some. And you can only have a maximum of 15 cards in your city, in your display. So there's different types of cards. There is the tan traveller cards, which give you an instant bonus. You've got the green production cards, which activate immediately and also activate in the spring and autumn seasons. You've got the red destinations, which, like we said, they increase the amount of available spaces that you can place your workers. You've got the blue governance type of cards, which will give you bonuses after you activate certain types of cards and various other bits and bobs. And then you've got the purple prosperity cards, which will give you victory points at the end of the game, as long as you fulfilled a certain criteria, like a certain amount of coins or a certain amount of berries or something like that, that sort of stuff. So once you have decided that you cannot place any more workers, or you can't play any more cards, you will prepare for season. You'll take a certain amount of workers depending on what season you're in. Spring and summer, you will get 1 worker, and in autumn, you'll get 2 workers. So you could end up with 6 workers, I think. And then what you'll do, you'll move on to the next season. And the thing about this game is there's no rounds, right? So you might be in summer, but somebody else might still be languishing behind in spring. So the game just keeps going until at the end of the game, where you just decide that you cannot do any more, and then you will sort of basically sit out for the rest of the game until everyone else has decided they're going to pass out of the game. So you'll keep doing this, you'll keep playing cards, you'll keep putting workers out, you'll keep progressing through the seasons. And once everybody has passed, you'll do a little bit of end game scoring. You'll add up all the victory points that the cards give you. You will add up all the bonus points that the cards give you from your purple prosperity cards and all that stuff. You look at your journey points, you look at your event cards you got, and the player who has the most victory points at the end of the game will be the winner of Everdell. So what do we like about Everdell? So the first thing that we really like about Everdell is that bloody great big tree. It's astonishing. It's amazing, right? And they didn't have to put that in there. It serves no gameplay purpose. But my wife really likes the tree. Yeah, she said it really does add to the atmosphere and the theme of the game, and that is really important these days. Okay, it is a bit of bling, but we still love that lovely bit of cardboard that really amplifies the theme of this game, you know what I mean? So the second thing that we really like about Everdell is the way that the game encourages you to chain together different combos based on the cards that you're playing. And okay, you don't have to rely on that. So one of the things that this game has is that if you play a certain card, like the farm for instance, then that will allow you to play the husband or the wife for free. So you play the cheaper card and it will allow you to get a better, more expensive card for free, right? And it doesn't really sort of stop you from playing the more expensive cards, because each card has a cost. But say for instance, like the castle or the palace will allow you to play the king for free. But if you want to play the king on its own, it's going to cost you I think 6 berries, I think it is. So it does try and usher you into chaining combos together, and the amount of options that gives you is massive. It's massive, and we love it. So the third thing that we've got to talk about, and we can't not talk about this, and that is the fantastic artwork that is in this game. And it reminds us a little bit of that sort of Beatrix Potter type vibe, the sort of wind in the willows type vibe going on. It's really done really well. Okay, it's a little bit scratchy, but it really does add to that sort of anthropomorphic fantasy type stuff going on. We really do like the artwork. So the final thing that we really do like about this game is the fact that there's no rounds in the game, and it's something we haven't seen before. It's unique. It is a little bit problematic, which we'll talk about in a bit, but the fact that is that you progress through the game at your own rate, and the game doesn't hold your hand. You can move as fast or as slow as you like, and it's up to you to try and squeeze out as much actions and as much stuff out of each season first before you move on. It's really great. It empowers the player to make their own decisions. You know what I mean? The game doesn't sort of change your nappy for you. So what don't we like about Everdell? So the first thing that we don't like about Everdell is the fact the tree doesn't have any sort of mechanical use. It's not related to any of the mechanics of the game, and that's a real shame. The fact that it just holds a couple of cards and it is just there to sort of make the game a little bit more of a showpiece is a little bit disappointing. I don't know if they've done something with it in the expansion, but it would have been nice if you could say move up the levels of the tree or something. I don't know, I'm not games designer, am I? But the fact that it's just an additional aesthetic piece is a little bit disappointing, isn't it? So the second thing that we don't like about this game is the fact that it does seem to rip off a couple of mechanics from one of our other favourite games, Seven Wonders. The fact that you've got that mechanic where if you buy a certain card you can get another one for free is a direct rip-off of Seven Wonders, and there's a lot of similarities. The fact that you're building a civilization out of cards and all the cards have got costs and all that sort of stuff. It does seem like this geezer who has made this game, maybe it's a homage to Antoine Bowser, but maybe it's just a basic rip-off, and it's a little bit weird, right? So the third thing that we don't like about this game is the rulebook doesn't mention certain things that left us scratching our head. It doesn't tell you what the achievements are on the special events, right? And we were sitting there thinking, like, what are we meant to be looking at? And it took us a few minutes. Maybe we're stupid or something. It took us a few minutes to realise that the achievements are the cards that are listed on top. We didn't see them, and there's nothing in the rulebook that tells you that's what you've got to do, right? And the second thing about this is that it doesn't tell you about what's actually on the card. So it was saying this card unlocks the second dungeon, and we're like, what on earth is that? And it's almost like you've got to sort of stumble your way through the game before it actually makes itself clear, and all you had to do in the rulebook was just say, this is an example of the event cards. This is what you need to do at the top bit. And this is the second dungeon thing, an example. But there's nothing in the rulebook. And for us, that is like a punch in the face. You know what I mean? So the final thing that we don't like about this game is the fact that there's sort of this pseudo player elimination. In fact, like, I know we said that we like the fact that the game doesn't hold your hand in the sense of rounds, but that will leave some players, maybe in some circumstances, twiddling their thumbs doing nothing while the other players still take all their actions. Not only does that make the game boring at the end for the players that have finished first, it also puts pressure on people that have sort of taken their time thinking about what they're going to be doing. And that's not really fair. It really is a bit of a dumb thing to do. And I don't really know any way around that. Maybe there's a fix somewhere, but I don't know. We don't like player elimination in games. And this is sort of like a player elimination by stealth. So to summarise, is Everdell worth your time and effort today and in the future? So we are going to say yes, this is a beautiful, an absolutely beautiful looking civilization building worker placement game that borrows a lot of its strongest mechanics from other similar games, right? And the fact that we really do like Seven Wonders means that we're going to forgive this game for basically treading on Antoine Bowser's toes, right? It's not too complex in what it tries to execute. We do find the fact that you're trying to chain these cards together from both the private information that's in your hand and the public information that is in the meadow is really, really good. And you can interact with other players, you can block their spaces, you can use their cards, they can use yours, and there's a lot going on, but it still maintains its simple and approachable nature with that wonderful woodland fantasy theme, yeah. So we're going to give this 4 out of 5. There are some expansions that we're looking forward to. We're going to get the Pearlbrook expansion. We're going to do a playthrough of that one. And there's a couple of other expansions that are due to be released soon. So we're probably going to get them. So there you go. That's Everdell. Remember, if you're new here, please consider subscribing to this channel. Leave a comment in that section down below. And if you made this far, give us a thumbs up. I'll see you next time.